Hey everyone, and welcome back. So in this one, we're going to set up our character's movements, so giving us the ability to walk around and look around. So we're going to do this in the player controller. So let's open up the RPG controller, and we're going to select Open Full Blueprint Editor because we would like to add functionality. Alright, so let's just neaten this up a bit. And first we'll need the event begin play, which we can get by holding the P key on your keyboard and left clicking, or by default you should see it within your graph. Now I'm going to create a new function called add input subsystem. Right, so we are going to search for get input subsystem, and we want this one, not this one. So we're going to select this one. This one here under the player controller category requires a target, and since we are already in a player controller, we don't need to specify a target at all. So from here we can just make sure this is valid. This is just a layer of safety. It would be valid by default, but again, it's just safety. So from the return value, we want to add our mapping context, and the mapping context that we want is the IMC RPG system that we created in the previous episode. So this function will now initialize that input mapping context, giving us the ability to use all of the input actions within it. So we're going to call this function on the event begin play, and now we have that set up. Next, let's do the camera's input. So I'm going to search for IA underscore camera, and while I'm here, I'm going to get the IA underscore movement. Just going to bring this right here, and let's create a function to add the camera's input. So I'll call this add camera input. This requires an input of type vector 2D, and I'm call this action value. So let's search for a vector 2D. Good. Compile. Now I'm going to get the input action value as a local variable, and I want to split the structure so we can get access to the X and Y values. And if you remember, the X is for our left and right, and our Y is for our up and down. So we're going to get the controlled pawn, and this is the pawn that basically owns this controller. And we're going to call add input, and as you can see, we have add controller yaw input and pitch input, which is the two functions that we need. So I'm going to call the yaw input function. I'm going to drag off again and get the pitch input function. Now it's rather simple. Connect X to the yaw and the Y to the pitch. With this done, we can copy the input name, and we want to create another function called add movement input. Add an input to this as well. The variable type should be saved as vector 2D, so I just pasted the exact same input name, which is action value, and I'm going to get it as a local variable as well. Next, I'm going to split the struct bin again. So we'll need to get the controlled pawn again, and from the return value we'll add movement input, which is not this function but a built-in function within Unreal Engine, so make sure to be very specific with that. I'm going to connect this to the execution pin. I'm going to bring this up a bit, and I'm going to duplicate this add movement input function and connect the target here as well. Obviously, because we need one for left and right and the other for forward and backward. I'm just going to run the execution pins as you see here, and for the scale value, this will be our X and this will be our Y. So for our X value, which will be our right and left, all we need to do is get the right vector. I believe it's called actor right vector, so we can get this from the controlled pawn and search for get actor right vector. I'm just going to duplicate this and bring this here just to keep things clean. Break this pin. By the way, you can break pins by holding the Alt key and left clicking. So for the right vector, I'll connect this. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to delete the right vector function. And I want to get our actors forward vector. Good. So back in the event graph, all we need to do is insert both of our functions. I'm going to bring in the add movement input and add camera input. Connect this to the triggered pin and connect your action value, and let's do the same with the movement. Now, if I hit play, I can look around, and I can also move around. So I can move forward, right, backward, left, and I can look around as well, and my camera will influence my movement direction, obviously. So with that done, let's close this video off right here, and in the next episode we're gonna set up a bit more functionality. That's it for this one, guys. See ya.